So today I wanted to do this assembly of the Sharpin arcade Switch mini device. I have this thing laying for ages in my storage and I realized that I never put it together. I just wanted to see what's going on, and I can tell you, let's clean up the wood because there is so much, let's say, dust on here, paint dust or some kind. Nevertheless, we're going to be assembling this, and I can tell you at first I already made a mistake by not reading the manual. I thought, I can just do it, but through the end, I actually looked into the manual itself because there were a couple of things that I completely messed up by doing a little bit of assembly. Nevertheless, it's going to be absolutely fun, and I can tell you that this is such a relaxing overall situation. The only thing I personally just freaking hate about these things is that not only it's very filthy with all of the dust, I must say I don't really like put stickers on because I always mess it up. Just gonna be honest. Nevertheless, I was like late in the evening and I thought, let's put this thing together. I messed it up in the assembly, so don't see this as a tutorial, just look into the manual. So the overall construction is the same that we have seen before with these pieces of plastic that you can just screw everything together. And the idea is actually just to put in a switch. That's it. For the overall assembly, it's not that crazy, and when it comes to assembly, I can tell you that it's just going to be putting the wood pieces in the right order and the right position, and this is the part I actually messed it up. So the biggest challenge for me personally is adding the stickers, and we do actually have two kinds of pieces when it comes to, let's say, the different kind of Nintendo Switch you want to use. I'm using the old version, but I'm guessing the other one's for the OLED. And another thing I think would be awesome, but I don't have a 7-inch display hanging around. If you're going to be using a let's say a bigger display, you can put it in and you can slap it in with a pie or make like this mini arcade yourself. So, when it comes to the cabinet itself, it does have a lot of potential. But for this video, I just want to use it as it is for a Switch itself. Plug it in and let's see how fun it is. And this is, I think, the best way to actually assemble a sticker. You need to be very, very, very careful with the bezel because, on the edges it is very, let's say, very fragile. So this is actually the way how you put it on. And it's still like a little bit of bubbles, I think it is, but this is the best I can do when it comes to putting the sticker in. Yeah. Oh man, maybe you can actually use a tool to get rid of it, but it's challenging when it comes to that. So let's give you an example how it will look. So this is the big bezel. Yeah, maybe I will even use the big bezel later on, because when you're going to be looking at the smaller bezel, it's not perfect at all. So with the big bezel, we're going to be seeing let's say an overall bezel of the Switch itself, but when it comes to, let's say, the smaller bezel, it's going to be more challenge. And you need to actually, the way how you're going to be assemble the Switch is just using these plastic screws, and you're going to be assembling this way. Yeah. Not a big fan of this because you need to be very careful with the back of your Switch. So putting the stickers on, this is another challenge. Okay, you need to try to put it in perfectly. And I think the biggest challenge you're having here is not putting the sticker on. It's going to be putting it, first of all, like in the perfect position. And let me explain, because you need to assemble this piece of wood between the two parts. So yeah, this is not perfect, like for giving you an example. So don't try this at home. You need to be very, very careful. If you're bashing it in too hard, you're going to be breaking the overall construction of the arcade. But I think this was the more difficult part of assembly. And the stickers, everything has been assembled, so we're ready to go. The arcade machine they're using is just a 701 arcade fighting stick. So the overall idea is that they have like this wooden cabinet where you're just sliding in, let's say, a stick. And I must say that you see that we're going to be needing a converter that was also implemented into the kit. And I don't know if I have like the same one because I lost it and I bought another one back. I love it that he implemented the sticker, so you don't need to do that on the control panel itself. The cable is in here, but I can tell you assembly of the joystick is absolutely a different story. So the overall idea is to slide it in, but the thing is with this joystick, we're going to be having quite a lot of space needed because we're going to be using an adapter from USB-C to USB, and of course the USB plug itself is also quite big. And then of course we need to align the switch inside of the cabinet, but with these 3 nuts you need to be very careful. Because I already noticed when you're going to be tightening up the screws itself, you're going to be denting in the back of your Switch. So if this is a Switch you're going to be using daily, yeah, it's not going to be super convenient. So that's the idea. And we have seen it before, so this is nothing new. But the way how it is, you need to align it with the bezel. So I actually regret getting the smaller one. So I'm thinking we're using the bigger bezel and just having a better overall configuration and setting up with the Switch itself, because man, the bezel is way too small for this particular model here. So this is what's going on. You're going to be sliding in the control, and this I need to open up the cover to give this thing a little bit more space. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it correctly. Giving you like an in-depth view. Okay, you can actually see, you can slide it in all the way to the back. I'm not using the special double-sided tape, I just want to actually remove it later on, but this is how it looks on the inside. So if you're finding a different adapter, that would be more convenient. That is a little bit shorter. Slide in, and we're ready to go and to play. So that concludes actually the build of the mini arcade switch thingy. So where this is not like my best work when it comes to putting stickers on, you know, I'm not really good at it. Personally, I really freaking hate it. But the idea itself, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I didn't implement the double-sided 3Ms because when it comes to this overall configuration, I'm not a big fan of it. Because, you know, when you stick this thing into the arcade, you know, there's almost no way to actually pull it out because these things are absolutely great. So I'm not a big fan of it. I need to have like a different solution. Another thing I actually want to show you with this build. So connection wise, if you're going to be looking at, let's say, the way how everything configured, so this is not like the most convenient thing. I need to use a normal USB to USB-C connector. I need to open up the arcade and just slide it in like that very carefully. It's not like the most best thing because you need to be so careful that you're not going to be damaging your port on your Switch. So the way how this thing looks, I think it's like from a side, it's pretty cool. I must say the way how they actually made this and with the DIY and everything, it looks not bad at all. Like the stickers, of course my mistake, but I also love it that they have implemented already a sticker on here. But the overall, let's say, thing that is like when you're going to be sliding in your Switch, you know, I'm having the first edition. You can just slide this thing out fairly easy. So one of the downside, I think actually when it comes to this is you need to actually tighten up these bolts. And you need to be very, very careful that you're not going to be damaging your Switch itself. But let's boot it up. So because this thing is plug and play, you can see that I didn't use this, like say, overall configuration to the maximum because I was afraid of actually damaging my Switch. But again, you need to look into it because you can actually see that this is still having a little bit of a situation going on. I don't know what he thinks about, like say, charging, because you need to charge your Switch within a couple of hours. So, but when it comes to the configuration, I actually went for the small window, but what is like a great idea. You can see that the edge is not perfect of the system itself. Let's see. So, it's absolutely a very easy plug and play solution. And this way we can just boot it up. I love the speakers of the Switch because it sounds absolutely great. We also had the second window. I think this is going to be way too big for when it comes to, let's say, the normal Switch. I think you need to have the OLED. Or what I think what you can do with it, I think it's pretty cool. You can easily implement, let's say, a bigger screen and just use like an external PC whatsoever. But the overall idea, it's fun. But let's play a little bit and let's take a close look at the device itself. But how does it actually play? So what I mentioned is that the overall idea is pretty cool. And again, like the arcade stick is a little bit loose, but I just wanted to keep it as it is for now. So, but if you're going to be playing, I must say the overall joystick is not bad at all. It's not like compared with like a high quality joystick or maybe like a simple Senwa. But you know, when it comes to the overall configuration, this seems to be working fine. I think this is just like one of the cool ways to actually play your Switch or Street Fighter in this case. You can see that it is not perfectly aligned with the screen itself. With this wooden piece, you can just mess around like that. Oh, yeah, this is absolutely hassle. So, okay, so let's get into some gaming and let's see how it actually will play. So the joystick works perfectly. I must say the button's not super sensitive. Oof. Man, that was absolutely an epic fail from my side. But yeah, I can tell you, I can do actually enjoy this. And you know, I know there are actually a couple of ways to actually just make your Switch this kind of plug and play arcade. Let's see, what are the three buttons? I have no idea. Wasn't it like something like this? No, messed it up. Unfortunate. But you know, if you're going to be using something else to actually get this joystick in a certain position, you know, it's great. So you can use this thing just fine. Just now start moving. But how about switching the game? Because yeah, this is like a different story. But if you want to switch the game in the Switch, we need to slide it open like that every single time. I need to hold it, switch itself. I can slide out the game. Okay, that's much better. So let's put in a different game. Let's see how this is going to be working out. Yoo-hoo. Do I have a brain fart? I think I do. But this is not like a super convenient way. Yep, I had a brain fart. Let's go! So moving on to another game, I just wanted to do a little bit of a messing with this to see how this actually will play. So I think it's going to be absolutely an overall fun experience when it comes to the joystick itself. The overall construction of the device, yeah, is this like one of the coolest way to play Sonic Mania? Yeah, you can. But one of the things that really bothers me is that I actually use this this smaller display. Yeah, and this is absolutely okay, you know, but you can actually see with some games, like I've shown before, that some parts of the screen are cut off, so that's quite unfortunate. But when it comes to this particular wooden, like say, mini arcade plug and play solution, nowadays there are so many out there. You have like plastic ones, you have all kinds of very cool editions that we have seen on AliExpress. So gameplay wise, I can really enjoy this when it comes to the joystick itself. So with this machine you can do all kinds of very cool things. So to begin with, I'm just using the switch where this kit was actually just intended to be used with. But if you're going to be looking at the way how this thing is actually made, you know, it's the same material that we're seeing with the Sharpin mini arcades. If you just want to play some games like Street Fighter or Sonic, they work just fine. I was thinking about how cool would it be if you're going to be adding an extra screen in here or something else, not a switch, and you're going to be adding like a tiny Raspberry Pi or something else. You can make something really nice out of this. Let me know in the comments what you do if you're having like a DIY kit like this. Would you shall slap in a switch or something else? Thank you all for watching, and it would be great to see you in the next video.